To me, the first key is, do you truly love them? Because look at it like this. To me, a lot of people get caught up in infatuation. They have unhealthy attachments. They have different motivations to why they decided this is the person that I want. And that can make them feel like they're in love. But to me, true love flows both ways. It's not a one-sided thing. So when you can say, I'm not into them like that. If we look deep into that situation, I can almost guarantee what we'll find is infatuation, attachment, something else. But when you can say, no, I feel it too. I'm deeply in love with them. I think that's your first key. Because without that, nothing else matters. Because a lot of people are choosing partners based off of, well, they love me so much, so I assume it's safe here, and this is a good choice to make. But the safe choice is usually the wrong choice. And a lot of these people select this individual thinking everything's gonna be okay, but because you're not really into them, you can never be what they need. And they were never truly what you needed, which is why you never even got to that level with them. So to choose them without first evaluating, do you truly love them, would not be wise. Love is about kindness, compassion, patience, understanding, a willingness to be selfless and pour into that individual. But I think what's also important for people to understand is when we're trying to apply it to romantic relationships, we have to understand that there's other ingredients that are necessary before we can move forward. So you could love someone dearly, but if they are not emotionally ready, because maybe they haven't healed from their past, maybe there's still some things they need to work out in their life, then it wouldn't be time to move forward in a relationship with them. And we have this bad habit of the minute we feel like there's love there, we want to move forward.
Exactly.
And as you mentioned, we can get caught up sometimes in, well, we love them because of what they do for us, but what are you prepared to do for them? Love is about giving, all right? So we have to ask ourselves, okay, do we know what their needs are? Are we willing to fulfill those needs? Because if not, maybe this wasn't love. Maybe it just felt good in the moment. Maybe you got caught up in the hype, and that's okay. It happens to almost all of us, if not all of us, at some point in life. But we have to just be very clear with ourselves about what's really driving the intention right now. But I think all those things I mentioned is what encompasses love, and that's like the foundation of it. And then from there, we have to look at some other things to see how we can move forward, to make sure that we're doing it correctly for each other. So it's about learning each other's love languages and how we make it work within that dynamic. I think also because so many people are not used to dealing with emotions on that level, being that vulnerable, people mishandle it, all right? So it takes time for us to get to a place so we understand how to manage this and work through this. However, I think that I'm a huge believer in connection. And I believe connection is like your spirit recognizing its match. And it's very instant. When you speak to couples who said they experienced a connection, they'll tell you first conversation, first time meeting, first date, first week, it was pretty fast. So to me, the recognizing of something deeper being here can happen very quickly. But how we now cultivate that and how we move forward is where we need to take our time and make sure we're not rushing and overlooking certain important issues that need to be discussed and addressed first. I think it always starts with self, and you have to be honest with yourself about why are you still here? Why are you holding on? What's really driving you? Because just use an example, let's say you're a woman and the only reason why you're holding on to this guy is because he's a nice guy. You don't feel like starting the process over with somebody else. So even though you're not feeling it with him, you figure, let me try to make it work. You're wasting your time. This is where you're setting yourself up for disaster every single time. So if it's not born out of a true connection, love, a genuine desire, you really like this individual, of course, there's always things we have to work through, but is the foundation strong enough for us to say, okay, we can make something special here? And we can't always say for sure what's going on with them. I will say that in general, if this person isn't willing to talk about things, they're wasting your time. If they're not willing to address or correct things that have been talked about, they're wasting your time. If you guys aren't on the same page about what you want and where you want to go in life, wasting time. So there are some things I think we can just look at and say, listen, this is pointless here. But a lot of times, and I have to say this, especially for women, women's intuition is extremely powerful. I'm a huge believer in it. And I feel like women know very early, this isn't it. but they rationalize reasons to convince themselves to give this man a chance. And this, again, is a waste of time because it just doesn't work. I've seen people turn what should have been maybe a couple weeks of dating into years of being married to someone they were not happy with. All because they did not listen to themselves from the beginning. They knew what it was, but they just could not accept it for what it was.